What if some of the most dramatic UFO sightings never happened on a lonely back road, but hundreds of miles above Earth, reported by the very people humanity trusts to tell us what's real in space? Strap in, because tonight we're cracking open first-hand astronaut encounters NASA quietly filed away. These are the moments when seasoned spacefarers glanced outside the hatch and saw something that absolutely shouldn't be there, and then got radio silence when they asked HQ what was going on. Forget grainy cell phone videos and anonymous tips. The wildest UFO stories come from astronauts who had the best seats in the universe. These are pros with PhDs and thousands of flight hours suddenly whispering about glowing orbs and impossible maneuvers just outside their cockpit windows. NASA's official response? Usually a shrug or a technical glitch. Let's dive into real incidents that keep mission control sweating to this day. Picture streaking around the planet at 17,000 miles per hour and realizing something is pacing you. On his final orbit, Gordon Cooper radioed a calm but urgent message. A luminous green object had slipped into formation with his capsule, matching speed and altitude over the Pacific. The onboard experiment camera captured it, yet the film reportedly returned overexposed when NASA processed it. Cooper stuck to his story for decades, even testifying before the United Nations that he'd watched a structured craft, not a meteor, slide away toward the dawn. NASA's official log simply calls it an instrumental anomaly. One minute it looked like a flying beer can, the next it vanished without a trace. While trying to nap, James McDivitt saw a silvery cylinder with antenna-like protrusions drifting past the cockpit. He grabbed a camera and snapped 2 hurried frames before the object accelerated upward into the sun's glare. Debunkers later suggested it was a discarded rocket stage, but the timings never matched, and NORAD's radar showed no known debris near Gemini. McDivitt, later manager of the Apollo program, maintained he'd seen hardware we didn't launch. Humanity's first moon crew may have had uninvited company. During the coast to lunar orbit, Neil Armstrong reportedly switched to the medical channel, less likely to be recorded, to ask what the transient lights were outside their window. Michael Collins later recalled bright points, quote, shaped like an open suitcase, rotating alongside the command module, prompting a quiet debate over whether they were ejected panels until the objects zipped off at right angles. NASA's public transcript never mentions the exchange, but declassified mission debriefs note a, quote, unresolved visual. The legend of Apollo 11's secret UFO whisper was born. Imagine filming space history and then your own footage becomes classified for decades. While maneuvering the spacecraft, Ken Mattingly caught something boomerang-shaped glinting in the 16mm camera. Analysts later said it was the detached T adapter from the lunar module, but tracking data placed that adapter 2 kilometers away on a different vector. The raw film vanished into NASA's archives until released in the 1990s. Independent frame-by-frame analysis showed the object make a subtle course correction, something no passive hunk of metal could manage on its own. 2 veteran astronauts agree. A glowing, tumbling nugget tailed them for 10 minutes. During a routine solar flare watch, Jack Loosma and Owen Garriott noticed a dull gold object with geometric facets keeping pace outside Skylab's dome port. Garriott confirmed its presence through binoculars. Mission Control asked for photos, but by the time the bulky film camera was aimed, the craft shot away straight through the station's forward attitude indicator, meaning the thing flew into the radar's blind spot. NASA filed the event as, quote, debris from prior launch events, even though no identified junk matched the trajectory. A flash, a zero-G dance, and a hard right turn at 20,000 miles per hour captured on live feed. Night vision cameras tracking an Aurora experiment caught a small luminous object darting across frame. A bright flash, possibly thruster plume, triggered the object to change direction instantly. Then a second object shot in from below. NASA later said they were, quote, ice particles reacting to RCS jets, but physicists noted the maneuver would require a sudden acceleration high enough to liquefy any ice. The uncut video leaked, sparking one of the first internet-age UFO debates still unresolved. Ever see a flying saucer 3 times the size of Earth's radius? Astronaut Story Musgrave watched 2 gigantic self-illuminating disks drift just below the shuttle while Columbia was 190 miles up. They appeared on multiple cameras, expanding as if growing, before fading into Earth's limb. NASA blamed lens reflections, but veteran engineer Mark Carlotto's pixel analysis showed parallax motion inconsistent with glare. Musgrave, a 6-time shuttle flyer, now tells lecture audiences he's convinced intelligent life is out there and STS-80 is why. 6 bright lights in a perfect row flew under my boots, then vanished. While installing navigation antennas, ISS Commander Leroy Chiao spotted a horizontal line of lights racing across the dark ocean below the ISS, speed around 17,000 miles per hour. Ground controllers suggested shrimp boats off Brazil. Chiao dry laughed. He was 220 miles up and the pattern matched neither cities nor storms. He reported the sighting but never received an official follow-up. Years later, when asked if he'd seen a UFO, he answered, quote, "I saw something I couldn't explain and no one ever tried to." A Soviet hero meets a silent cruciform craft, then the tape disappears. While approaching the malfunctioning Salyut 7 station, Vladimir Zanabikov filmed a cross-shaped object rotating end over end 50 meters off his port window. He assumed it was lost hardware until it halted mid-tumble, cocked 45 degrees, and darted behind Salyut in a blink. The cosmonauts whispered that it, quote, "looked back at them." Soviet controllers ordered the film canister returned by secure diplomatic pouch, and to this day, no frames have ever been released, and Russia's archives list the reel as, quote, "missing." When a decorated Navy SEAL calls something in space weird, you pay attention. During lockdown-era orbits, Chris Cassidy spotted a metallic dog bone-shaped object drifting near the station. He filmed it on his phone and radioed the sighting. NASA later said it was a small bracket from a recent Progress resupply, except inventory showed all brackets accounted for. Cassidy's video reveals the object making a slow roll, then a tiny puff of vapor jets it sideways before it slips out of view. NASA clipped the maneuver from the clip released to news outlets, citing, quote, "privacy of operational data." Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.